Hi everyone, it's Morgan. Welcome back to The Roottrees Are Dead. Last time we've locked in 6 more identities on this family tree, and we have it on the good authority of the internet comments that there's a Roottrie curse killing the family. We're gonna look into the curse in a little bit, but first thing I wanna do is to lock in Elias Jr, because we have information about him. He's the last of the 5 pieces, and he's, well, so we know who he is and where he should be, so we're gonna put him in there and not forget about him. And now we can go and find out about this curse. There's a long, rambly conspiracy website with very small, very red text on a black background that says that the Roottrees are cursed. It has been very recently updated with the following. Important update with Carl and Brenda and their girls that makes 5 new deaths. Not only that, but 3 of the 5 presidents of the Roottrie company have died mysteriously. They say Guy's car was hit by a drunk driver in 1982. But nobody was arrested. Then Ernie Mudson Jr. stepped down. He was poisoned. Now, just this week, Carl died in a plane crash. This cannot be a coincidence. There's another entry that claims if you connect the dots in the pattern of the 5 pieces raptor and creates a Mayan rugby skull, a secret message meant to subliminally scare people away. I mean, they seem to be making really good money on the candy, so it's not working. The post before that has a link to a site that talks about how Earth has 4 corners, simultaneous 4-day time cubes. The author of this site seems to agree. An entry from a few months ago claims that the owner of the site received an email from Chris Raff75 at prodigy.us asking him to take down his site with fake proof that Ernie Mudson Jr. actually had a heart condition and wasn't poisoned. The owner claims that although the proof looks quite credible, he knows that the proof was fake because he's an expert at creating fake evidence. The first entry is from 1996 but has a blurry picture of the Roottrie Candy Company factory, similarly taken by the website's author from behind a fence and through some trees. It seems that Operation RT29 is real. I witnessed a helicopter land on February 29th, 1996. The website footer says all images and ideas owned by Thomas Overwood. Okay, we're gonna get into pinning and researching all that, so this will be conspiracies. So we have the curse, we have 3 of the 5 presidents died mysteriously. Guy's car was hit by a drunk driver, 1982. So we know one of the presidents' name was Guy. Eddie Mudson Jr. stepped down. No, I don't think we need to be researching the cubes. I wonder if we can search this guy's email address. Operation RT29. Maybe he has another conspiracy. And this Thomas Overwood. Okay. So, I don't know if looking for Ernie Mudson Jr. No, that's not gonna yield anything. Wow, we got some printing going, so that's good. That's the sound of you found something. You find a sample page called The Art of Rafferty, copyright 1997. Now, we've seen people called Rafferty before. They were married into the Roottrie family, so some relation. On Prodigy, that lists the author's email address as chrisraff75, Prodigy US. Below a bunch of GIFs that say under construction, there are a few art pieces. I can see it. I can see it in my mind's eye, the old websites, and yes, everyone had those shiny GIFs that were like under construction because I'm still making my website, and then 5 years later, it's still the same GIF because got bored. The first is a painting caption, me and my fiance, Lulu. A painting I did for my first year of college, and I plan to give her when we married in May. Go Tartans. This might be Lauren's kid, I think, because I think she got married to Rafferty, so that would be his name. There's an odd collage called Cousins, which seems to be made up of 3 scrambled images. The accompanying artist statement says, "We had to create a piece of art about our family. I asked as many of my extended family of cousins for their pictures as I could, even some I've never met. Only a few of them got back to me, and my teacher said I wasn't allowed to use pictures of Rainer, Riley, or Rose, so I had to get creative and use only my third cousins. This includes Davy. He swims for Yukon, and Bethany's yearbook picture. She's Davy's younger sister, and Stephanie, who is an only child." Okay, more information about who's whose cousin and who's sibling. How to best organize this. Can we can move this around, and then we can have Lauren's line of family. I guess we can use Rafferty as the name. This may not necessarily be Lauren's kid. This might be her grandchild as well, because I guess 1997 is a bit late for that. He sounds like he's in college, so I guess her kid wouldn't have been in college in 1997. Maybe again, the game doesn't ask us to put like their years of birth or death or anything like that. So other than them being in generations, it's a bit nebulous, especially that like one of the first generation kid is almost the age of like the second generation because he was born very late. So it's a bit skewed in my mind. Chris Rafferty, Chris Raff 75. So I guess he was born in 75 because, you know, that's how you make your email. You put your year of birth in there if just your name is taken. And he's an artist of some sort. Seems to be going to college for art, maybe. I guess we can look up the Tartans and figure out which college. So we have Davy, who swims for Yukon, who's a cousin. Bethany, also a cousin. And Stephanie, who's an only child. So they're all cousins, so they will be all in the same horizontal space. Okay, Chris Arbor has been added to your evidence, but the cousin's photo will need to be unscrambled before you can use them. You've downloaded a new application, Pixpop, to edit the photos. Okay, now we're photo editing. Next we'll be creating some fake evidence of our own. Okay, yeah, so we don't need to like arrange this, we just need to zoom it in the correct amount. Dichotomai? What does that mean? Okay, let's see what the other... Okay, this one is rotated. She also likes lumberjack outfits. Ah, this is upside down. And we have one more. Cousin sliced. We need to move. Oh, okay, so they're connected, and I assume... Okay, you're push the whole rows. Okay, well, we can reconstruct his head. But this piece is lower down. Okay, we need to bring this up here. Oh, we're gonna need to push it against something. Okay, this one is a bit more complex then, because we need the pieces to be going into right places, while there might be gaps between them, so we want to push this around. So if we move this here, and then we move this here, so we can construct it like that, but we're gonna have to do that about a few times. The duck wants to talk to us, I guess. The duck is for hints. Okay, but we still need to get his shoulder in there. Okay, that works. Now this piece up top is, I think, okay, it goes into there. Not like this. So we need this to move into here. Okay, and then this piece of his shoulder goes into this section. And now his hand needs to come in here. And then we have these two pieces. I guess they go together like this. Yeah, so we just need to get them up into this section. So if we move everything to a corner, we can make room to move this here, then up, and then here. Okay, so we've reconstructed their pictures. Okay, we roughly knows what their names are because, yeah, the swimming one will be Davy. Bethany will be the one we had to rotate because she's one. I know, it's a yearbook picture, so that would be the portrait. And then Stephanie would be the one that's like just wearing the plaid shirt, just a random pic. Okay, we have loads here. We have 6 new things. This is just the update of what's been going on so far. So yeah, we heard the news on the radio. It's the scrambled pictures from his art projects. Due to my bifurcation. Okay. We have this picture. Art piece was found on the portfolio of college student Chris Rafferty. It was referred to as self-portrait of me and my fiance, Lulu. Okay, so Chris himself might be down here, so he might be descended from Clark. Well, we know he has a fiance, but we don't know whether he gets married or not. So that might not be him here. So we can't fully add him yet because, yeah, we don't know which one exactly he is. I mean, if he's at college and he has a fiance right now, it's not exactly an assumption to be made that he's managed to get married in the year since. If they're like, if he's here somewhere, one of those kids, then the cousins will be in this line. So we have 2 here, which he mentioned. Brother and sister. We have 2 here as well, 3 here. There's one that is an only child, but there's again a lot of options for that as well. So it gives us some hints, but it doesn't give us like, oh, this is definitely the spot. So I think we have to, well, let's look up tartans because I think that will give us the college. He goes to the Tartan Sergeant Mask of the Carnegie Mellon University. It doesn't seem relevant. And no, but I guess it sort of confirms that he's in college. And then we go back and look up Davy at UConn, maybe? You find it's University of Connecticut, and that Davy Kellogg fourth is on their swim thing. Yes, the Huskies. He also came second in the most recent competition, though it doesn't seem relevant. Okay, so his name is Davy Kellogg the fourth. Can we add this here and then reorder? And yeah, he's Davy Kellogg the fourth. Now we don't know which line he fits in exactly, other than at some point, yes, he was from a family where the grandmother, someone was the Roottrie, and therefore he will have a different name. Now Bethany and Stephanie are unlikely to have. There's nothing for Bethany Kellogg. Is there just Kellogg? No, I mean, I thought from something like the fourth there might have more info about them. But I guess you don't have to be a fancy family to have the fourth. You can do that whenever you want to. Okay, what else do we have here? I guess we can dig in a bit more into the conspiracy people and see if there's anything. Okay, Operation RT29, you find more conspiracy websites. Some people out there claim that the Roottrees are changing the candy recipe to include more and more chemicals, and that this was done in cooperation with bad actors from unknown government. They claim that due to a loophole in the calendar, it's possible to get away with nearly any crime on a leap day, so long as it isn't discovered until after the day is over. And then every 4 years on a leap year, the Roottrie Company hosts a meeting with foreign agents to conspire to poison our children. The proof is that Roottrie candies contain polyglycerol polysinolate, an ingredient of a candy that wasn't there when it first released. They claim it is added in an attempt to addict people and eventually induce mind control. The website claims to sell pills that counteract this effect for children that have already eaten Roottrie candy in the past. You do an additional search for polyglycerol polyvincenolate, and it seems to be an emulsifier in chocolates approved by the FDA and widely used across many products. Yes. I mean, I'm not saying, you know, everything is okay with everything we currently add to food, because, you know, we used to think asbestos was fine. But yeah, I don't think you can eat something and then have mind control. Right? Okay, well, I mean, it doesn't take us anywhere real, other than they had a meeting of some sort on February 29th when there was a helicopter or something. Well, let's look up this guy. Thomas Obra seems to have a few different sites about mysterious death and curses. In addition to the Roottrie Curse website, you also find one about the truth behind Spirit Cola, which claims that Spirit really stands for Satan's Plague is returning in 2000. And then in the year 2000, anyone who has drunk Spirit Cola will die. Another website is Stock Markets and the Devil's Numbers, which claims that if you multiply any stock price by 666, then also multiply the current year by the same stock price, and then add those two numbers together and divide the entire total by the stock price, and finally subtract the current year, you will always end up with 666. Yes, that is how maths work. If you take a number and multiply it by a number and add a number, and then take away all of those extra things, you will end up with the original number, my good sir. Yeah? No? Okay, calm down. But yeah, again, like, it has those little drops of, like, you remember the old internet, like, it used to be year 2000, people had the very weird ideas, conspiracies, fears, apprehensions about it. Obviously, there was the Y2K where computers would stop working, and I mean, that was real in the sense of, yes, there were lots of systems that would have stopped working, but people knew this was going to happen, and they put a lot of work in to make sure it wouldn't happen, right? It's one of those things where it was a real issue, but because we worked to solve it, it didn't actually happen at the scale that it could have been. But now people are like, crazy conspiracy theories that didn't come true. Like, no, we just actually did something about it. However, then there are also lots of other things where people are like, in the year 2000 world would end. Well, it didn't. We're still here. Okay, we've learned a bunch of new names that are potentials for the generations here, but previously we've also got a lot of new names for the other generations. It's just like I wasn't able to pin down exactly where they might go, but I think right now, yeah, I basically have to sit down and put all their names down, kind of narrow down everything I know about them, like what generations there are, you know, they have siblings, they have cousins, and try to kind of unscramble from there, because yes, I have lots of little pieces, but I've not been able to make a connection as I'm kind of reading the information and getting the information, so it needs a lot of reviews. Okay, I am back with some newly reviewed information. There was quite a lot, so one of the things I've done is basically look at the evidence and see like the value of it, because like, for example, this is one, so there is one piece of information here points to the mother of Lauren being from a family called Cosell. So that should be an easy entry because we know she's here, she's confirmed. So we can look up Cosell, and there's only one called Sarah. So that's just an optional person we can lock in. There's 5 informations here. Now, one of the things is that there were like the different jobs the 5 pieces kids had. So we already know Eli was the architect, Miracle was the preacher, and we have a lawyer. So it's potential that Lauren's father was the lawyer, because the other 2 are women. So unfortunately, at the time, their job is just housewife. So that might be it. Now we also know that Zach became the 2nd president after Elias Sr. to the company, and then that his surname doesn't match the candy, which basically means that his mother was the Roottrie, and therefore she changed her name, and so that's not his. He has his father's name. Another thing is that mentioned here is that it went to the person that looks like they sampled the product, so I think they're basically calling him fat. And if we look at the picture of the next generation that they have, I think from it there's a suspicion it might be this guy. Now this picture doesn't have any value, because I guess it's just a picture we're going to use to get faces, and we have to work things out. And I also had to include Sam, so one of those people is called Sam. Okay, there's a couple more things. Yeah, I think I got some pictures confused here, because I think I said this was Miracle Jr. previously, but actually it specifically says that Miracle made it in, even though he's a 5-piece. So I guess this guy here is Miracle, and this one here is Miracle Jr., because they're quite offset, like because Miracle was much younger than his siblings, then therefore his child will be much younger than the people in the same generation. Another thing is this woman here with ginger hair. Now this is like a complete tangent, but one of the cousins in like the final line that's in the Roottrie sister is this guy Davey, who swims for the college team. He's also got red hair, so quite potentially he's related to that woman. Again, not necessarily, but they've already kind of made connections between, oh, my family has this hair color and their family has this hair color, so I think that might be one of the things we will need to look at. Some other things I've gathered is that Gwyn had 2 boys. We can't just enter unknown male into the thing. It's not going to solve it, but, you know, just to kind of pin that information for us in the... Another part is kind of the people who are in the current generation, so where the Roottrie sisters are. So I think Stephanie will be in that same generation. And this was sent to Carl from someone whose initials were CM, and they talk about conflicts in their generations. So CM will be someone in Carl's generations that they had some sort of falling out with. We'll need to narrow the name, and then I guess Stephanie is their child. Now there's Chris, who's the college artist, and he included pictures of some of his cousins. So again, the cousins will be in the same generation. And he said one of his cousins was Stephanie, and one of them was Bethany. So I think that's Bethany because it said it was a yearbook picture. So this would be Stephanie, but I think those are not the same person. So I think there's two Stephanies maybe. I mean, we can kind of check this because if you open the naming list, you can see all the available names. We also have some information from this picture, which is specifically that Ernie was the president before Carl. So that kind of was going to help narrow his job when we can find his name. And I think, yes, I got Angie talking about Angie being the oldest in the next generation of the family. We also have some information about Carl, who it talks about Carl being in the free spirit generation. It says Carl, but that's because Pop forced Clancy to send him to the academy, which seems to imply that Clancy, who's Lauren's brother, has a child named Carl who was sent to the, I guess, military academy. And then back to this band music situation. So we got this family in the first episode. Now, the one thing to take from here is that it says that Candy is on guitars and vocals, and obviously in this picture here, this girl is holding a guitar and singing next to a mic. So this is likely Candy. Now, it could be a stage name, or it could be that the family got rich on candy, so they named their kid Candy. We can go to the board now with all of this reviewed information and see. I've already entered Cosell here, Sarah, and then I think we could say that he was Lauren's father, who I don't have a name for yet, but he could have been the lawyer. We have Elias, who was the architect, and the way Lauren talks about him, right? Because he calls her father Pop, and he talks about Elias by name. I assume that Elias and her father are not the same people. That's why I put him there. Well, even though I don't know what this guy's name is right now, like it must be buried somewhere there. Like there would be the 5 pieces of original names, you would think, but I don't know. Somehow missed it somewhere. Now, so I think, we have the alternative picture for Miracle, because we're saying he made it into the next generation's picture, even though he wasn't supposed to. So yes, I actually had that wrong the first time. I was like, oh, he didn't lock in, but that was because I used the wrong picture due to the generation age difference. Because the remaining siblings, so we have 3 boys, so there would be the family would be Roottrie. And then Margaret only has 1 child, which we already know is Gwyn. They are confirmed here. Meaning Zach would be a child of Gwendolyn. And then we know that Zach is not the oldest, right? Because they talk about it. He doesn't just get it because he's the oldest. So we might be able... We have Morden, Zacariah, or Zach Williams. Well, since it's spelled Zach as the shortened name, I would go for Zacariah. And this is him, since they seem to insist on implying his father. And his, last known position is being the 2nd president of the company. And then it does say that Angie is the oldest, and she also is called Morden, so it makes sense that they're siblings. Now, do we have other... More, we have quite a few. However, all the other ones are Carol and Gwendolyn, And James is the only available man, so he's likely the spouse of Gwendolyn. And then I think it's likely for Angelica to be also a housewife because of, again, that thing we've read with Gwyn being the first one to be something else other than a housewife. She was an actress of the women. Can we figure out which picture is her? Because I think she is in the next generation. We have the 3 women here. Now one of them has to be Lauren, and I think she will be this one here, so actually maybe we can add it as an alternative picture to her. Just so we're kind of removing those from the pool and we don't get confused by them later. And then I think it's... did it say that Gwyn didn't make it to the reunion, but she sent that picture from Paris, so this is her alternative picture. And then Merkel Jr. Sorry, I've gone off on a different tangent now. I'm just like, oh yeah, let's get rid of the extra picture. Merkel Jr. is this little kid in the picture with his generation, so that's his alternative picture. Like, it helps to remove the information you know where to put, because then you're not trying to use it to make any leaps or assumptions later on. So okay, so from this we have this woman and this woman from the next generation picture, but there isn't necessarily anything to say what which one she is right now. Now, as for Lauren's brothers, now we know she has a brother called Clancy, and he has a potentially brother called Edward, and we know that Carl is Clancy's son, so I think Clancy goes here. Okay, but we have Clancy Edward and Clancy Jr. Now, could the father's name... We know that Clancy... Let's see if we can look it up. There was the family lawyer who made this whole Clancy Trust. Yes. Clancy Edward Roottree was Elias' son. Okay, so we know who he is. We know who he is. Just at the time I saw that information then, we didn't know which way the siblings went, so I didn't know where to enter him. Yeah, so we have Clancy Edward, Elias, and Zach, and we've logged in quite a few pictures and names. Okay, that was a bit scrambled, sorry about that. I just kept, like, now I have all of these pieces of information, I want to put them in before they escape my head and just keep confusing us. Yeah, so... Forgot to say booyah, and my phone's ringing. A summary in a minute.
So, you may have heard the news. Some of Carl's things have gone missing. That includes the pictures and mail I brought you earlier. I promise I didn't steal it.
Oh yeah, you promise. Do you? Do you?
But I did borrow it. I'll return it once we're done. Let me deal with my family in the meantime. Oh, I guess that means I've officially confessed.
Again, would you like me to call the police? Would you like me to not call the police? What are you gonna give me to not call the police?
I'm a Roottrees.
Or so you say. Is that what your deal is? You're trying to prove you're a Roottrees even though people think you're not, so we have to prove that you belong to the family?
I assure you I have a reasonable explanation for the secrecy. I'm about to do something big the family doesn't approve of. If you could just wait a little bit longer, I'll tell you more, in person. I'll return after 15 more blood relatives.
Again, if you want someone to help you being cagey, like... I don't know, lady. Okay. Again, sorry. I've went off, scrambled all of the bits from my brain onto the board. got distracted midway through with like extra pictures that she's calling us, things are happening. We've locked in a lot of things. Okay, so what I was going to say is that, yes, along the way we see a lot of names that we can pin, but then we see them out of context. Like we just see, here's someone's name, maybe a job, or maybe they were someone's cousin. But at that point, there is nowhere to put it other than like pin it in our notebook. But, you know, you pin and pin and pin and use pages upon pages upon pages. So it feels like I would maybe want the notebook to be more integrated into this board. Like, you know, maybe I wanted to say, like, here next to this guy's card, you know, say he's the Pope and whatever else I could have said. And yes, I knew one of the children here was Clancy Edwards, so that was a lawyer, so maybe I wanted to pin it alongside this generation, even though I didn't know where to put him yet in terms of age. So I've kind of... Now I'm hybrid. I'm using the notebook in the game because once you pin something, it lets you quickly go to the place you got it from, so you can re-review. But I'm also using the paper notebook here to organize the information in a layout that may help me more. Again, this is just my thoughts about like the user experience of the game and things like that, and trying to explain why I get so confused and so, okay. Anyway, it will probably be just about an episode, but before we forget, now we know that this is likely Clancy Jr, one of Lauren's brothers, because we know about him having that Carl was his son, but we don't know too much about him otherwise. We're just looking at it. We also can do things like, we know Gwyn had two sons, so we can put no male in here. And I think I know what the other Lauren's brothers are called. One is called Edward, and one is possibly called Eli as well, like, you know, Elias Jr the third or something. But because I don't know which one is which, I can't enter them here or like just pin it to papers with their names. So I will need to remember this at some point when it comes up. We have it as kind of loose ends board where we just pin all the information we don't know what to do with yet, and then we can type in notes like we know Candy. Actually, that's the thing. Is there a person called Candy? Yes, Roottrees Candy. Okay. Well, and I guess she's a musician. Okay, so we're gonna assume this is her, and then we can... Yes, maybe I just pin the information I don't know what to do with here, and then, yeah, over time we can chase out those threads and figure out where they go. So because you can click on it and go back to the source, I'm not like, oh, where did I see that? Where did I see that bit about something else? Narrow down a bunch more stuff. We had the phone call this time from the mysterious lady. She stopped going to our house now, admitting, yeah, she might not be doing this entirely above board. And she claims she's a Roottrie, but is she an official Roottrie? Is she in this tree? Or is she trying to prove that she's in the family even though people say she isn't? What is her deal? Are we gonna get arrested for helping her? Or are we gonna get rich for helping her? Who knows? We still have many more to find, and we shall do so next time. So I will see you soon on another adventure.